let's just jump into this because we're running I'm a bit behind. I'm sure you guys understand, but I don't. For me, uh, so let's dive in. Okay. Would you like to? I mean, a lot of people in chat know you, but would you like to introduce yourself and talk about how you got into 3D and where you're at now?
Yeah. So my name is Miroslav Baev. I'm from Sofia, Bulgaria, and I currently do contract work for Decagon. Um, I got into 3D about 2 years ago. I um, I saw a random YouTube video actually about Blender, and I got really into it. I've always found the idea of making games pretty cool, so I was like, you know what? Why not? I'll try it out, and that's where it's been ever since.
Wait, how long ago was that?
2 years ago.
2 years ago, dude. That's man. People, you guys are crazy. It's like I look at this portfolio and I'm like, dude, it took me 3 years to get like barely even, not even near this quality.
Thank you. A lot of sleepless nights
Yeah,
passed.
yeah. Oh my gosh. Uh, so okay, so you're doing contract work for Decagon,
Hmm.
and man, I mean your work already looks quite good. You're interested in props, that's correct, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Is there? Do you want me to start in any spot particularly, or like, because I don't know
Um,
what you've trimmed away and what
yeah.
you know.
I've trimmed some of it away.
Mm,
The last couple weeks, but there's still a couple things. It's mostly I'm kind of at the point where I'm not too sure how like where to go or like how much I can push it to get to the next like bar, like quality bar.
mm-hmm.
Um, I've tried a lot of like videos, a lot of like courses and stuff to try and see if I can pick anything from it, but I'm just not too sure like exactly what to do to hit that next level.
Right. Okay. I mean, your thumbnails aren't bad, like especially the more recent stuff.
Yeah.
Um, I think I think where it takes a turn where it starts getting pretty good is not that not because it's the 5 year anniversary thing, but the execution of that asset is quite good. Here, let me just
Yeah,
turn my
thank you.
camera off. Yeah, dude, it's crazy. So I mean, the things I look for when I'm looking at assets, like just the single asset, is all the storytelling that can go on, and like
Yeah.
how, like, does this QR code work?
Yeah, yeah, it works.
Does it just go to your
It
portfolio?
I think it goes to the Dynasty website because there's the Dynasty logo on there.
I don't even. Okay, cool. That's
Yeah.
awesome. I don't know, man. That's great. Yeah, I never
Yeah.
actually tried it, but that's freaking hilarious. I love it.
Yeah, I tested it like 4 times before I actually uploaded it to make sure it works.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like I was just talking about. It's those details and like getting there's like storytelling and understanding how materials wear down, like the little edge of the wood on the base frame here, and
Yeah.
just yeah, the overall. I mean, the overall quality is quite good. Um, and then it's really interesting seeing how you approach your content.
Yeah.
The breakdown is really good as well.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Yeah, that was pretty fun. I tried a couple things to get that to break, like in a more kind of organic shape.
It
And
is,
thankfully, Blender saved me with that.
yeah, it is quite difficult sometimes to get the shatter to not look uh, generated in that sense. I guess where it's following
Yeah,
like a pattern.
yeah,
But yeah, when I look at your work, I think what is really popping out is the storytelling, and then there's the surface definition, and I'm assuming that's kind of like where it starts to like where you're trying to find the more gain in the quality.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. There's I guess another thing is presentation as well. I'm almost always trying to make a better way to present stuff, like
yeah,
find a better way. Some people have like backdrops. Some people build whole scenes around like a single prop so that they
yeah,
can present it. and it's just trying to find like what works
Right.
and what looks nice and what doesn't.
Man, the fact that you animate your like the unsheathing of the sword is like that's a good touch for like that extra, just that extra detail. And this one's
Thank
a
you.
year old,
Yeah, that one is about a year old. Yeah.
and I can tell the difference in your understanding of like PBR surfaces versus like the Empire, the anniversary one, because that's only like 4 months. Yeah, it's 4 months ago.
Yeah.
And then okay, so this is posted 10 days ago. Really, is this 10 days ago,
Mm-hmm. I think so. Yeah.
dude? When did I see
Yeah.
this? Have you just been posting updates on it then?
uh, that one was a project I did a couple months ago, but
Yeah,
I got pretty busy, so I had to stop all my personal projects for a bit. And
right.
this one,
Okay.
I got pretty close. I got to like, I think like 80-90% there. I just had
Yeah.
to finish a bit of texture and just render it out. So I decided to finish it off at least.
Yeah, this one's really cool, and I think especially the when I saw this final image with the wrap, I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, dude, that's exactly like this is you would see this packaged on like the counter next to a character getting some eyes swapped out,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, that took a lot of time. My voice
Oh the
designer was not happy with me.
oh man, you were using Marvelous for that. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
yeah.
Dang. Okay, so I guess in that regard, was it because you were using the final asset as the mesh inside?
Well, I created a different asset. I created a collision mesh for it that was like the
Okay.
general shape of it, but it's just trying to get like when you vacuum seal stuff, you get all of the little wrinkles and stuff that's like
Yeah.
from all the bumps. But in Marvels, it's pretty difficult to get that because it just doesn't like to do that. So I had to play a lot of like with the width and waft, like scaling it to try and
Yeah.
give it extra tension.
Dude, that's yeah, I mean, I haven't played a Marvelous Designer in years, and I can already imagine the issues with trying to get that to work, especially with it not like clipping into itself.
Yeah, yeah, that was fun.
Um,
I spent like a solid day just trying out different like settings.
let's see here. So I don't think there's not an albedo only in here. I don't think, and that's fine.
Uh,
I'm
no,
just
yeah,
trying to see because I think when I look at this asset, I feel like it's quite busy. Like there's a lot of
yeah,
information going on, and it's being able to tone those down so that you get that 70-30 ratio where like 70% is easy on the eyes, and then that other 30% is like the finer details, like the back here where the cable comes in,
yeah,
and then the front area here is totally, you would expect that to be quite complex.
yeah.
I maybe it's just the patterns on the surfaces. Sorry, I'm just scrolling around like crazy here. Um,
It's okay.
yeah, so you've got this high fidelity pattern. Maybe if just the contrast was lower on it, or if you pushed it just into the roughness,
Mm-hmm.
you'd probably get a easier easier on the eyes feel. Because like when it blurs like this in the second image, um,
Yeah,
it definitely becomes easier to read. And then you just wish that the edges were sharper.
yeah.
It's kind of the same with the I don't even know what to call these.
I think there are ribbon cables.
Yeah, I mean they look like ribbon cables, but it's just like I'm trying to imagine where they connect, and I don't know the rest of how that would work.
Yeah, yeah. Somewhere in the head.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that it's those patterns I think are just giving you that contrast. Delaney says the brain. Thanks, Delaney. um, and then there's a bit of shading that's happening in the cable itself that feels a little strange to me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know if it's because it's looking like it's bubbling out like a bubble wrap, and then there's some
Yeah,
tension lines, but then I can feel that it's flat at the same time,
yeah, yeah,
and and maybe it's just these cables that are on top of it because those are their own tube, right?
yeah, yeah.
Because I bet if those were baked into the same material, you wouldn't get that feeling. Because then the cables would bend to the warp in the normal.
Yeah.
But again, with the QR codes and the text for storytelling and the industry's logo, it's all nice touches. Dude, the front is. I dig that. I dig that.
Yeah.
How long did
Thank
this
you.
take you?
The front?
Just the whole thing in general, I guess.
Oh. Ooh. The modeling portion of it took me, I think, like probably like a day, less than that.
Mm.
It's just trying to get like just different shapes to work together, and then afterwards just making it sub D so that there's no shading issues. It's what takes usually the most time.
Yeah. Man, sub D.
Yeah. Yeah,
No, this
I
one's
like
cool.
making my high poly. I like making everything high poly and then
Mm-hmm.
making a low poly and baking it onto. It's just more convenient, I guess, easier to work with
Yeah.
when you have
Yeah,
less
you're pretty
topology.
free.
Yeah, so it just makes it so you just have to spend a lot more time on the high poly, making sure there's no problems with it when you bake
Mm.
it down.
Yeah, I mean, if it shades correctly on the high poly, it doesn't matter what the topology looks like,
Yeah.
as long as it bakes clean. Um, yeah. So I guess if we go to the boombox, so this one's a year ago, so this one's older than the eye, but I can
Yeah.
even here the materials are actually stronger than some of the other stuff from a year ago. Um, what I guess what was the story with this asset?
With this one, I wanted to. So, my dad used to have a boombox similar to this one, and I never appreciated it when I was young, and I broke it. So,
Okay, yeah.
I wanted to make one so that way I could, I guess, pay respects to it.
Oh my gosh, that's okay. Yeah,
So I made one that looked pretty similar to the one my dad had because I have no idea which brand his was. So
yeah,
I found one that looked close to it, and I just started making it and started throwing the stickers of the like bands that he would like.
dude, that's
And
awesome.
yeah, like the battery doesn't work. That's an actual thing that on ours it didn't work either.
So wait, so you had to
So it's
plug it
like
in to make sure it would work?
yeah, you have to actually keep it on power 24/7, otherwise it wouldn't turn on.
What?
Yeah, the battery just didn't work on it.
So, oh man, how did you break it?
I think I literally just dropped it one day and it just shattered into many pieces.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's a great sad story.
Yeah.
Oh man, I really like the presentation at the end here with the cassettes.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Those ones I actually had physical reference for. I had them next to me, and for the longest time I never used them. And
Yeah,
now I had a reason to actually use them for something.
yeah, you're actually looking at them pretty closely.
Yeah.
Are those? Is there a close up of it here? There's a little bit of a close up. It's more of
There's
the
on
framing for
some of
the.
them you can kind of see. I
Yeah.
think,
Oh
yeah.
yeah. And you've got the
There's
writing on there too.
yeah, there's different text for each cassette.
Oh man, that's awesome. It's funny because like from this time, there's pretty interesting colors that were applied to stickers, and then
Hmm.
those are just like stuck onto everything. And
Yeah.
it looks like you've captured that quite well, especially with like the way that the brushed there's like that brushed metal top area there.
Oh
It's
yeah.
it's got Ghetto Blaster all over it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is
The
really
other thing
cool.
with that one was the cable on it.
Mm.
It's actually stripped and repaired. That's also another thing we had on ours. It's towards the top, I think. It's
Oh,
like a red
yes.
and blue cable, kind of. Yeah,
Yeah,
you can
yeah.
see that. Yeah,
Yeah, it's right here.
that's that's another thing that ours had as well, which was repaired. So I wanted to add that in as well.
Man, that's awesome. Yeah, it usually happens somewhere around here or somewhere around here that you get that. Or, you know, if
Yeah.
there's a pet involved.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what that might mean. Maybe Maru's at fault. No, this is really cool though. And again, it's a lot of the storytelling is happening in the materials, and there's like that little wear on the corners here, a little
Yeah.
bit of damage, and that's even the chipping here. I know that chipping. I've seen that before. I can't even remember how long ago it was, but I know exactly what that looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I had a lot of like references and stuff to make sure that like I could capture it properly.
this is super cool. Even the scratched out text on there. This is the other thing that, like, I've said it a couple times now, but all of your assets have a lot of story in them,
Yeah.
and story's everything. I mean, as long as
Yeah.
it's not like, if this boombox was placed in a game like 300 times, you probably wouldn't
Yeah.
add that much character to it. But I think if this was like your character's hideout in a game, and like that's the radio, and it has that story, like maybe you would put that story on the character, and
Yeah.
like you go and
Yeah.
interact with it, and he would tell us like, "Oh man, I remember when I dropped it."
Yeah. Yeah. With props, it's like a fine line between adding detail and then not adding detail, depending
Hmm.
on like what it's used for. But because I like to add, I like detail. I don't know. I've always liked
Yeah,
adding detail to stuff. So being able to like add little bits of storytelling, whether something's damaged or maybe there's a sticker or someone scribbled something on a piece of paper and
right.
stuck it on there. I always try to add something like that to like make it more interesting and more relatable, I guess.
Hmm. Yeah, it makes it more like grounded in reality, and you can relate more with where
Yeah.
tape happens or where the damage happens on a cable. And some people will have their own stories, right? And it'll come through even though you don't know them.
Yeah.
But yeah, let me, because in chat, Tuxedo is asking, is there anything you've seen so far that you feel like is it, how do you say it, Miroslav?
Miroslav.
Miroslav.
Yeah.
Um, is like anything that I feel like could help push you to that next level. And I mean, it's always with props, it's always about like, it's always about getting the materials to read correctly, like the PBR values to be correct. And I feel like with your, I mean, like let's look at the alien isolation stuff. This one's 6 months ago.
Oh yeah, the terminal. That one was surprisingly fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean I have fun with all of them, but this
Mm.
one was more fun than usual. Like I got super hyped at making it up to the point where I'd like open Blender for like 10 hours a day
Oh
and be
man.
like and just start like making random shapes and just seeing what can hold on.
Yeah, I mean, with this one, you're going even beyond the, like you're thinking about how the asset operates. Like you've got the blinking emissives, the animated screen, which I, how did you even approach that?
Well, great thing in Blender is you can just import MP4 video files, and
Oh.
it's literally you literally just connect it up to the shader with one
Yeah,
line and done. That's it, and it works out of the box.
that's hilarious. Okay, so you just cut a video together
Yeah,
or found a
yeah,
video that worked.
yeah. Just YouTube. I think it's a video from YouTube. Literally just
Mhm.
throw it on there. Boom.
That's hilarious. Yeah, so there's the question in chat about like how to push this stuff further, right? And
Hmm.
I think you can always go further with the quality of the materials themselves. Um, even to the point where like the scan, dang, that screen kind of looks like it's got a parallax to it.
Oh yeah, it
Um,
does. It's I think it's because of the way Blender does the. If you turn on the render settings to max, I think in the world settings, there's one where you can get it where you get like almost like a reflection off of the because there's a glass and then there's the screen itself. So you
right,
get like a small reflection on the glass of the projection of the screen.
man, that does a lot.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
makes me
One of
think
the
that
things I like.
yeah, that kind of makes me think that whenever you have something like a shader like that, you should probably try and simulate that kind of reflection. Like maybe you don't do it in real time, maybe it's built into the shader.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, so the modeling aspects of this are quite good, and you're using like a weighted normals approach. So there wasn't much
yeah,
baking in this, right?
yeah. No, nothing was baked.
Okay,
Everything is just weighted normals, tiling textures, and decals.
and decals, yeah,
Yeah, from decal machine.
nice. Yeah, I'm digging into that a lot right now, and it's the baker for it's surprisingly good. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, so okay, so getting back to the things to like turn up to 11 is like, so you've got your roughness, being able to tell a bit of story in the roughness. I think maybe your roughness might be a bit more stylized, I guess, is the like
yeah,
when it's rotating, you can see there is information in it, and I think that's great. Um, but it feels like there's not too much difference in the surfaces. Like I know that this is all cut from the same type of material is the idea, right? And
mm-hmm.
getting a different roughness value per material type will help
Yeah,
whenever that's possible. And it might be the case already, and I'm just not. They're just so close together where it's the contrast would help. The
yeah,
screws on the side definitely are a different roughness than the plastic, or at least they look that
yeah,
way.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but then I guess with you wanting to be a props artist, and I talked to someone at work about this because I'm an environment artist, right? And
Yeah.
I need to understand more about like what makes a good prop art portfolio. And the first time I asked about that was when I was looking at the presentation I wanted to do about portfolios and on DinCon. And the thing that he had mentioned was that a lot of it will come down to like how much things are you doing uniquely versus like reuse, and like how
Yeah.
efficient is the modeling. And it was interesting because he was actually quite not against but not like 100% into weighted normals. Not saying that this is bad or anything, because
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
weighted normals are an approach, right? But
Yeah.
he's like, if you can't rely on weighted normals and you have to bake all of your information, and like how do you do it in a clean way where you reuse area, like this part here on both sides are basically the same, right? So you could technically UV
Mm-hmm.
those the same, and they look like they are.
Uh,
Is that, am I just imagining that?
I think they. Oh no, I think they are. I think they are the same because
Yeah.
I literally just have a mirror modifier on half of it.
Yeah. All right. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because a lot of it, I mean, right down the center, minus like the panel in the front here and like
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
detail here, and this guy, a lot of it can be mirrored, right? And I think,
Yeah.
I guess without me being able to sit there and scrutinize the little details in order to realize that it's mirrored, it's like showing the UV breakdown. Like he was really interested in the UV breakdown, how much is overlapping UVs, what can be a tileable material versus like what can be in the unique bake. If there's
Mm-hmm.
no bakes, then it's just tileable materials, right? So it's like
Yeah.
thinking in a very, like he thinks in a very optimized, like really hardcore optimized way, to the point where you're like,
Yeah.
okay, uh, if there's anything that's slightly like inefficient, he usually
Yeah.
points it out.
Yeah.
And
And
so,
it's
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, it's something I also like wonder about is because it's obviously for your portfolio. So
Hmm.
like you make it too optimized and you kind of like tend to lose the quality sometimes
Yes,
because of optimization, but then you don't want to make it super like high quality and then not have any optimization where people
right.
will be like not knowing that you can do that. So
Yeah,
it's just like trying to
it's a
figure out
balance,
like
right?
a balance between that. Yeah.
It's like if we go, let's see here. This one, I remember looking at this laptop, and
Oh yeah, that one's pretty old. Yeah.
yeah, this
It's
one's a year as well.
Yeah, this is
And there's a
before I
huge
realized that
difference.
I can actually change stuff in the albedo, like slightly here and there to make it look a bit more interesting. Because the
Oh,
albedo is
wow.
just like one color, I think.
No way. Oh, I see. I see what you're saying. So is this, what are we looking at here? This is your roughness, your albedo, your normal, and your ambient occlusion.
Yeah.
Um, let's see if I can. Yeah, because when I look at this, the first thing I notice is the that grainy surface, which I think is a detail
Yeah.
normal. It looks like a
Uh,
detail normal. What is that?
I think that's just the 4K map. It's just like I've
Really?
just yeah. This is before like I only knew about detail normals like literally 2 months ago.
Yeah.
So like before this, it was like if I wanted more details like that, just upres it, just 8K texture,
Oh
done.
man, dude, that's crazy. Okay, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I guess that was the other thing that was feedback is like um is work looking really good in a portfolio, but then you're like, oh, it's just a it's just a 4K textured asset in Marmoset. And I was like, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's a thing that occurs. So I guess um for some artists it's very particular on like um the reality of real time versus like, so like if you were to make that laptop again, I would tell you to probably bring it into Unreal
yeah,
or do it in Blender, but build it in a way where like that detail and the resolution of everything is holding up because of the tricks in the shader, right? So like the detail
yeah,
normals and masks to like make the buttons here smoother than the
yeah,
body.
yeah. The keyboard I'm not like very happy with anymore. I think it definitely could have. I tried to separate it, but I think it still looks like it's just like a sticker on top.
Yeah, I mean it's just that surface detail.
Yeah,
I think that's all it is. And then I mean where these buttons are at, it's perfect for like subtle roughness variation in the like with fingerprints and smudges.
yeah,
But I mean this is a year old, and I'm pretty sure you're well aware of that stuff at this point. Because I look at the alien isolation asset, and all this is missing for me is like a detail normal per like material type to kind of give it
hmm,
a texture that is relatable, and it's almost like you can feel it. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
And then just showing the technicals, like at least from a prop art perspective, it's showing the UV sets and the maps and how you utilized how much is overlap
yeah,
versus like how much is unique, and yeah.
yeah, yeah. I think for this one there should be a breakdown. I think.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh no, it's
on my portfolio, I think. Like the
oh yeah, down
brass.
here. Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll just go there.
yeah.
Game artist. Do you have any questions? Since we're getting
Um,
there, I think we're at 28 minutes.
my biggest question is just like yeah, like how to just trying to figure out like how I can actually improve
Mm,
because like once you hit a certain point, you're like like what to do and like what to do correctly, but there's just this missing gap that you just don't know how to fill.
right.
Like you go to other people's portfolios and they're like and they're like super high quality and
You're like,
there's
how? What are
something
they
that's just
doing?
better
There's
and
something
like
they're
I
doing.
just
Yeah.
don't know what. Yeah. Oh yeah, and that one was the video. Like literally just drag it in and um it just plays.
That's hilarious, dude. I can't believe that. Yeah, you're just dragging in the base color and then a bit of the emission and the, oh my gosh. That's
Yeah,
great.
yeah. I'm just basically taking the color from all the white values from the video
Hmm.
and just making them a bit greener for the emission.
It's great. Yeah, I think when I look at see, this presentation to me is quite good, and I think it's the resolution of the geometry. Like I know you're going
Yeah,
for weighted, and the keys are like are beveled and whatnot, but I can
yeah,
hear my friend going like, well, I mean, anyone can do this. And I'm like, well, not anyone can do this. And he's like, but I mean, if you're in the industry, you can do this. And it's the way of cutting this down to a point where it still looks the same, but you're like half the poly count.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a hard tell, because if it's a first person game and those buttons need to press in, and then it's a very different story, right?
Yeah, then it becomes a lot more difficult.
But I think for me, it's really selling those materials. If you got detailed normals on this, I bet this freaking goes through the roof in quality. Because then there's just that extra layer of fidelity that explains the surfaces further, and you get more breakup in your roughness than you would just using like the fidelity of your roughness.
Yeah.
Detail normals are freaking everything. I'd say put them on like 99% of your assets.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't really considered detail normals before. For like props usually, because I like in my idea when I say prop, I'm thinking like something that's like, pretty like either the size of a person or smaller. It's usually not
Right.
like a huge building. So detail normals for me just never been like, yes, this makes sense for a prop. But yeah, I can see how that can definitely help it.
Yeah, if you think about like plastic, metal, and concrete, or like concrete like surfaces, from a detail normal standpoint, let's say there's 6 detail normals. If you use those 6 on all of the small props, it doesn't matter, because they're usually like a 512. They're like low res, or they're 256, and they tile like crazy. You tile them like crazy in the shader, and you place them on every asset, so they're always loaded anyways. So it's like free detail. And when the camera gets really close, you're gonna see that up close.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But yeah, no, this is a pretty good breakdown though. I still can't believe that video.
Yeah,
I did not know you could do that.
I was surprised how easy it was. I didn't even know you could either. I literally just grabbed the video and I was like, what happens if I drag it? And it just imported.
But do you have anything else before we jump over to the next? That actually went really fast.
um, I don't think so. I think I've got everything. So I basically have to focus more on detail normals. Is that something you can do in Marmoset, or is that just like a Unreal Engine thing? Or
I mean, you can do it in Blender and you can do it in Marmoset. Or in Unreal, but I don't know about Marmoset, because it would require multiple normals. Unless there isn't a baked normal, then you could put it in there and just tile it like crazy. You can do it in Marmoset, says J, CG, DJ.
Oh, okay. So basically, yeah, just detail normals. And the use of that on props. Okay.
Yeah, it sounds like in Marmoset you can only have one slot. What I would suggest doing as like the last tip with detail normals is remember that you can have a mask that controls the strength of a detail normal.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and I don't know if you can do that in Marmoset, but that does wonders for controlling that stuff.
I don't think you can, as far as I know, because Marmoset doesn't have that like complex. It doesn't have nodes or anything like that. It's really just drag and drop. So it's gonna be pretty difficult. I'll probably try it in Unreal though and see
Cool.
if I can get something to look nice. I think definitely. I watched like your video with like the alien egg and the detail normals and the masks, and that one really
Dude, it's
like kind
hilarious.
of helped me.
That video cracks me up because the detail normal is just cobblestone.
Yeah, it works
But
so
it kind of
well.
works.
Yeah, like you could leave it as cobblestone and no one would be able to tell.
But yeah, I would suggest looking into that. I think that's one way to level up your assets, and then just showing a little bit more breakdown in your posts.
Okay,
So
so
that
detail
really,
normals and more breakdown.
yeah, because then the really peaky uh what is it, prop artists, they don't have a way out.
Yeah.
But cool.
Okay.
All right,
Yeah.
man.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. It's good to put a voice to the name. I think
Yeah.
we
Thank you
chat a
very
little
much.
bit in the server, but Yeah, now I actually am like focused. So
Yeah. No, thank you very much, and thank you for the opportunity and helping me figure out what I can do next.
yeah, no problem, dude. And it's just poke me if you need anything. I know we chat already, but don't hesitate. I'm always around.
Okay, thank you.
All
Thank
right,
you.
I'll talk to you later then.
Okie dokie. Have a good stream. Bye bye.
Thanks,
Bye
dude.
everyone.
Bye.